Okay, so of course, before we get started, where are my mayors first? What's going on with y'all, my fellow calls debaters? What's up? Hope y'all enjoying y'all night, y'all Thursday night. Of course, I was supposed to do this, Wednesday, but got kind of bored and wasn't even thinking about really doing it. But I guess we'll address that. We'll just pretty much address that later. I just wanted to, say First off, sorry for my breathing, of course. Oh yeah, because I have a short circuit sometimes. But it's probably gonna be because I'm trying to reach a goal when it comes to especially these critiques. Of course, now like even though I love wrestling, but when it comes to wrestling nowadays, of course, I don't really pretty much don't want to waste my time. So let's get to it. Whether of course whether it's like 10 minutes or something like that. But other than that, just strictly to what I'm exactly trying to say, and just of course, like I said, because I'm through, like I said, a bit of a number of times before, through wasting my time, just when it comes to these critiques. But yeah, so let's get right into the AEW Dynamite. What happened to last night? Or so, yeah. What happened? Well, let's see. Let's check in on AEW Dynamite. I think I've said it before. Did I? Yeah, I think I've said it before. Where you have where Tony Khan, AEW, they like to straight up get to the point when it comes to like Jon Moxley, like moments and really big events like Jon Moxley. Yeah, when it comes to AEW, they like to I like that, the fact that I guess I can applaud that, where they might just get to the point of where they're winning, like I was talking about with Jon Moxley, like events like Jon Moxley, and we know they might whether tweet out or whatever that they should have just, oh my gosh. But I mean, we all know, like I said, I may talk on that in the future, but yeah, I like the fact I still had like to have admiration that they could still have a sense that for the base or just for the wrestling community as a whole, that that we want to probably not wait to the end of the night, or stop. It may not want to beat completely around the bush. Just get to it already. But of course, for instances like that, they should, because like in those instances too, WWE is the king of that. Of course, they want us to where you should just, like you don't have to. It should. Yeah, that's it. Like it's the fact that they do it every time. They will just like they'll just spoil and just throw away such a moment, or wherever that can just that should be saved later on, where where it actually matters. Like I said, I get the fact that they want to just not sugarcoat being around the bush, and they know that they, especially that their base, or the wrestling community as a whole, just well, basically they just catered, because he even said that himself. They just catered to their, they catered to their audience, their demographic. So, like I said, I get the fact that don't they just want to get to the point, but moments like that should be saved. That's how much more moments, if if they come at a time where it's just at that right click, then it's going to matter much more as time goes on. So yeah, I just wanted to let y'all know that, and I just wanted to say that before I actually get into the segment, of Jon Moxley coming back. Okay, but getting into Jon Moxley. Okay, so before Moxley could get into before he got into the ring, and before he could get to talking about how he was going to come back and do whatever he's about to do, as he usually does. You have, like I showed y'all last the other night, where he had you had a person, you had a dude in the crowd where he said, I played it back too. Like it's not really that deep, but people people say he the dude said when they don't know what he really said, but like I played it back. I heard he say like the dude said, or I could play it for y'all. What I said, but the dude said that he, that get that piece of trash out the ring.
A little while ago, hey, go fuck yourself. Get that guy out of here. Piece of shit.
I've played it. I played it like back like 10 times now, and the guy really didn't really say it at all. Yeah, you just hear the part. I'm pretty sure all y'all heard it. You hear the part where the dude in the crowd says, "Get that trash out of here." And almost like like how you hear like it's like in a stream, like in a stream now, or you see it's like somebody streaming on Twitch, YouTube, or wherever, or just like a video where it's like like a clip of somebody saying it's like they're almost saying a word, or like if you say a word, if you say a word fast enough, it's almost like it's like it's almost like it's painting it out to be like what you think it is, but it's not. Like like it's drunken. That's what I thought I heard, but it's kind of like my mind playing tricks. It's kind of like my mind playing tricks on me, but that's he didn't really say. He just said get that piece of trash out of the ring. And it's like when he walks around, after they kick the guy out, and it's like when he he's just while he after they kick the dude out, and it's like he's proud of it. You saw him smiling, and he's proud of it, walking, and like he's his chest all puffed out, walking back and forth. Like he's done something, really monumental. And it's just like the Nile Rose thing also, and I'm pretty sure a couple of things back also where now I guess where you just get kicked out. Not that I condone, of course, really demeaning derogatory words. Of course, the dude obviously was referring to pieces whether he said the word or not. Whether he was referring to because he just got a rehab. What's going on in his personal life, Moxley. He just got out of rehab. Sorry, he just got out of rehab. He's back, and he said he was alcoholic. So yeah, like of course I don't condone those types of that behavior displayed at the wrestlers, whatever. But it's like that's the type of society or that's what wrestling has. That's what the side of that. That's what wrestling has become to be, whether you like it or not. You have like back then. Back then where whether it was the 80s or the 90s. Back then, it was much more ruthless. Wrestlers, and referees basically they had to watch their back. Like they dealt with wrestlers back in the 90s in their generations. Wrestlers from previous generations they've done what it was much more worse. Where the story where you had whether because it was pretty much I guess how kayfabe was, how it was pretty much dead. But you still have your individuals, or whether the generation where it was just not they didn't know that yet, and internet was pretty much like it wasn't how it is now, or just so ever the fact because people still think wrestling is real, just like so yeah, it's just. When and then you have now where these like especially I look at these like supposed these supposed tough wrestlers. They had they badass like Punisher, Deadshot like personalities. Almost like try to portray like you get untouchable. But it's like where you have you have that moment happen right there. You had that like that scenario happen where he just told the guy to get out because he called him just like just because he called him a word. It's like seriously, and you like he's supposed to be like this all about violence and mayhem and unscripted violence and shit like, and he gonna kick a guy out because he says piece of trash to you like. But I don't think I told y'all my opinion on because like he's one of the Moxley is another one too where I just think he's completely corny, and never really liked him. Besides the Shield, and by himself, always thought he was pretty much corny, a cardboard cutout, kind of guy. He didn't have much any more little substance to him. Like he didn't like he didn't have anything else much to him other than he just because he just has a character that's pretty much been played out numerous times before. Whether it was the the lieutenant the loot what Looney Bin or Lunatic Fringe, whatever the fuck he equaled D Ambrose when he was in WWE, and now it's pretty much the same thing. So you trying to portray a badass, and then you had that scenario right there where it's just like, so yeah, just wrestler nowadays, it's like too like where it's like I said, like I don't think WWE does it. I pretty much saw a couple of occasions now that AEW does it. It's like you just can't have fun as somebody. Not that I condone that, but it's just like I say something just for fun, and I may get kicked out. And that's a loss of money right there. So it's just like, and this that's ridiculous. Like it's just wrestlers nowadays, of course, wrestlers nowadays are just so pussy. And I know it's probably video probably gonna be a bit longer, but I just had of course I said I was going to on Cody and Moxley. I'm gonna of course my heart gonna come out a bit. So, but yeah, it's just like the wrestlers want to still if they wrestlers today they want to portray have it like image that you know that they'll beat 1,000 guys asses and they'll they'll knock your teeth right out up from your ass. But it's just like you have instances where Moxley told the dude or somebody the security basically to get him out, and it's just like, well, that's ridiculous. That's just one of the reasons right there too why I can't enjoy myself or just think even in my own categories where I just for myself whatever I like. I just like wrestling. I can't really feel like I can't escape. Or you could have and like any wrestlers, but have a few where I like because you just like even though like I said I don't condone ignorance, but it's just like these wrestlers want to also want to seem like a badass, but they also want to have some sort of safe haven when it comes to you actually opening your mouth too. Like Sami Zayn is actually, even though I said I like him, he's probably he actually one of them. So it's like he actually kind of one of those wrestlers where you he'll probably snap if you say one little two words. And like it's just like high middle school, like high school shit. It's ridiculous. Like it's just words. Y'all gonna fold over words. And wrestlers had to back in previous generations had to worry about much more words. Absolutely ridiculous. Well, like I said last night too, he did. It was a pretty emotional, powerful promo. I did like where especially the last part where he's like if you think you could put me any. Not that I like where people like to glorify too, especially and glorify Lucifer and hell and everything like that. But yeah, I still like the where he had the last bit of part where he said if you think you could put me a bit more through hell and where he said you can I just drink more blood. I've been much more worse, and I could drink more blood, and that was it. That was pretty much good. That was good. I like the promo. If only if he can do that, going forward, then yeah, I pretty much can like that. I can get behind him, or maybe change my opinions more about him. So okay, so like I said, this is probably going to go a bit much more faster. Pretty much in the future too, where I just get in, get out. When it comes to critiques, not because I don't want to waste so much of my time, but you know what I mean. But so like I said before, I've pretty much I watched this last night because I kind of tuned into it because that that promo from Jon Moxley kind of got me drilled into it into the Dynamite, so into the remainder of the show. So yeah, I was kind of drifting off a bit, but was still it was because AEW, I've noticed that a bit, because AEW the way lately also where they have good shows here and there, and then it goes back to complete shit, complete, just unbearably boring. And I just, oh man, I just that's why that you've been not seeing me so consistently too, or not just not giving a fuck, or I want to do it, and then later on I get to it, I'm like, "Ugh, I don't want to do this because it's completely boring. At least because I still got my few in WWE. At least WWE, like I said, they still know how to still tell a story when they want to between the top stars and the characters and everything like that. But it's like AEW, it's just there's nothing to it. There's nothing to it, and that's why they losing much more of the female viewer demographic because there's nothing else for them to really look at after into or relate to anybody because nobody really has a personality. It's just cardboard cut out here, cardboard cut out here. So Mary Sue here. So yeah, it's pretty much basically the same thing all over and over again. So, and who wants to sit for like 2 hours through that every night, where you can obviously have your attention much more elsewhere. So yeah, this was a good match also. Or wait, did I actually? Yeah, this I guess. Yeah, this was a for the opener the match pretty much. I guess it was a good match. It was okay. She is probably the girl right there too, KRIS Standard. All these thick girls coming out of nowhere. I'm so sorry. I got a bit distracted for a minute. It is like because you have now a Sky Blue and then Chris Stadler and what's what Jamie Hayter. Yeah, you got all these like thick, the thick one, the thicky, the plump thicky white girls too coming out of nowhere. Oh my gosh, man! Ew. Hey yo. Oh, sorry, y'all. I got my mind went to a place where y'all don't want to know about. So, uh, yeah, like I said, the match. I guess it's was okay. So, been like pretty much the same thing, whatever. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I guess you could say just from a wrestling standpoint, it was still was a match. The rest of the match is a wrestling match, so and it was good. I guess. I guess it was a good opener. So yeah, I'll say it's good. Okay, so Chris Jericho. I didn't know who. If y'all do know who those two. Who the fuck? Because they were like two dudes from. They were. They just looked from like two dudes from. They sounded Puerto Rican or Dominican, and they looked like they from. Because they dressed like they from New York. So or they are part of. Yeah, they're part of Eddie Kingston. Because they was talking about Eddie Kingston with Chris Jericho. So they still going with that too. AEW still pushing this Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho, and I hope this really well, it's like a you know if you or if not you care about it. That's why it kind of rubs me the wrong way because it's just like the last time they I guess that was what 2 or a week ago where Chris came out and he tried to protect Chris Jericho or no Chris Jericho, yeah, Chris came out and he tried to save Eddie Kingston from a beatdown, and it pissed Eddie off and everything like that. I don't know what this story is supposed to tell, or where they just tried because the dudes who are out in Eddie Kingston group, they talking about like how Chris instead of worried about this, they're gonna worry about themselves. I don't like so I don't know if they're a part of Chris too, or are they all a part together? And it's some kind of like family dysfunctional type of story or tobacco or something like that. So like I said, I don't know, but I just hope it gives some sort of light, or it just puts a major focus because I said it before too about Eddie Kingston. Like he really has, he's one of the very few who he that he has the charisma. I don't need to go into that or tell you how he has charisma. He has it, and character, and heart. Like the boy can spit on the mic, and he can wrestle as well. So I said I don't need to think I need to elaborate more on that. But yeah, hopefully I guess this because it's being treated like an afterthought, and I hate that. Because you got guys right, because you got these, like, of course, these small midget short, zero personality cardboard cutouts, like Sammy Guevara, and they're champion. But where's Eddie's piece of the pie? Like, what's he really getting? And it's just like that's kind of like really I'm not feeling that, and that's really that's not right at all. So, and people of course like to preach like so much about AEW, how like WWE too. It's just another base, but so how to preach so much now about how AEW, like, they're this and that, but no, they're not actually doing anything. So, like, as far as like really actually stars, are not pushing those as of late. The only where I see that is it's like Darby Allin is basically is went right back to an afterthought as well. Like, he's not even being like, I don't think anybody else really cares about what's going on with him right now. And the same thing with Eddie Kingston. So it's just it really makes no sense at all. So I'm kind of digging this also because I'll right now too I'll watch because he's quickly becoming one of my favorites, Eddie Kingston. So yeah, I'll watch anything with him right now. That when he went up with CM Punk, and they had their bit of they had their moments, and it was just that, of course, that 4-star classic, that was truly something of specialty, man. I loved every second of that, the way how they just went at each other. And you had bitter bitter and emptiness all in one picture. So it's just like, yeah, I really miss, I really like that, and I really miss those types of, involving those wrestlers and those types of stories. So I hope we get more of Eddie Kingston. We need more of him now going forward. So, because I'm just sick of the same thing. It's just match after match, segment after segment on, after that. So it's really getting ridiculous now, you know. So yeah, just hopefully we need, like, they need to get Eddie Kingston much more out there, because it's like I said, the same shit is going on right now. Like, it's really losing my interest. So they've actually, when it comes to CM Punk and MJF, I've said it numerous times. They've actually been they've been hitting it, well, a little. They've actually have, like, they've had been as far as still like placating between face, heel, what they're actually supposed to, when it comes to CM Punk and MJF playing their roles, they're actually doing this, and they're actually telling a story here, that's very rare. And and like I said, I like that. So, and this is actually what they should have been doing, like, before, when it CM Punk squashing Spears. Yeah, they actually should do that a lot more with their other stories. They actually, when they actually they've been doing a bit right here when it comes to that. Be Squares. It ended in exactly how it's supposed to end. And that's actually, they actually kind of smartened up when it came to that. And I looked Sean Spears. I don't even know what Ty Dillinger. A bit. I saw him once or twice on WWE 2K, or whatever, or NXT a few times. Yeah, I didn't even know that was him. But wow, yeah, I didn't even know that was Ty Dillinger. But yeah, it was exactly what it needed to be. He's a nobody. He's a jobber. He's just there to pretty much be a lackey, or do what he ever needs to do for the actual stars. I'm pretty sure, like, because I've heard that a bit times too. I actually said, I also saw it, of course, on I don't want to use it on, but as like an example, but Twitter. I saw the wrestling mob on Twitter saying he's a bit underrated. But well, who is he? What has he actually done? So aside, and I've heard he's a good wrestler, but I haven't know if he really was that good of a wrestler or even actually has something to himself of being underrated. And I would have heard of him. Like I said, I've been kept on and off about wrestling for a number of years. So when Punk left, so but I still kept my eye basically on it. So I would have heard about him if he was underrated or not. So yeah, that was that scenario exactly what the next scenario when it comes to CM Punk and MJF. That was exactly what it needs to be. And I like the fact that also that MJF just when every time CM Punk gets close to him, he runs away. He actually, yeah, he placates to it actually being a heel, where you just, oh my gosh, you just want to get your hands on him and just, strangle and stop his head to fucking, put him in a headlock, whatever. Yeah, MJF is that squealy heel that you just want to get at every turn. So I like that. Like I said, yeah, he's actually like really playing his key. Like MJF is such a gem. So actually, but it needs to be something more because I'm getting tired of these just something else of like attitude era or just something where, like I said, like I was just like some of my own ideas too, like where something just needs to happen. I'm getting sick and tired of where it's just it'll probably just be another verbal abuse. My bad, like it might it might just turn out to be another verbal segment or whatever like that. So or just MJF running away or now they know that got tired. Now they're doing just this, where it's just MJF is now what is he gonna do next? Like who's after Shawn Spears next? He's gonna get somebody else, or he's gonna get into another verbal war, or they gonna just like it's just more of the same thing to me. And I'm not trying to be like much of that, like I said, but grateful, ungrateful, and all that. But I like to see you know a bit of a flair. Like where it's like you actually like if you're gonna go, like if you're gonna make MJF and CM Punk seem like that next chapter in in wrestling where it just like starts to like because they don't even know what they can actually create. Like they don't know. Tony doesn't know what he has. Like pretty sure he kind of does, but no. Like when it comes to like promoter of the year, my ass. Like he's like he's not really doing any even with CM Punk and MJF. He's not really doing anything with it. So yeah, I would love to see much more, a much more greater turn in when it comes to between CM Punk and MJF, but it's just like it's more of the same thing. It's the same played out scenario now that I've been seeing, or whether you agree with me or not. That I'm talking about what I've been seeing for a number of weeks now, and it's just then whether it's a segment where they just talk mad shit about each other, or now it's just they have him like whether it was Warlow, and I don't know also because I did wanted to speak on that. Like, why people was like, "Oh, they made CM Punk look weak," or or we need. He definitely needs. We need. And Tony, because like I know he has a bit of a fetish with the smaller guys, but it's just like we need much more of that. When it comes to Warlow, we need more muscle in wrestling. Like like I said, it's like when you look around, it's like everybody fucking looks the same. It's all like all these indie short-headed midgets. It's just you really can't. And the fact piled on the fact that they don't have any character or charisma, so it's just like yeah, it's like it was exactly what it needed to be. They actually, when it comes, like I said, they actually doing a few things right when it comes to CM Punk and MJF. That particular story, or yeah, just that, or it might be a couple other things, but Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. Like just like you know, it was supposed to happen here when you know CM Punk just immediately beat Spears. So well, it is just Twitter. It's the wrestling mob on Twitter. So don't I don't pay attention. Y'all shouldn't pay attention, and I pretty don't pay attention to them at all. So that's a bit of a dead doorknob. Ah yes, Cody. Uh, I get the fact that like I said I like before when it comes to these like particular like parts. I said I get that I get the fact that he that this thing where he just whether it's Tony or AEW itself or Cody too, where they just like it's the same fucking thing. Like I thought it was just pretty much like it was a lot of things, of course, that he was talking about. He wanted to address, whether it was his that the fact that he's a free agent, basically, or it's just like I mean, you could call it free agent. He pretty much is, but or it's just like it's basically like he don't have a contract at all in AEW. I don't know if he had one before. I don't know. I don't really think he would even because he's still basically one of the top heads at AEW. So I don't know if he really needs a contract or not. And that's why everybody's speculating that. I guess that's why that everybody's speculating where he was going to WWE, which he wasn't. Like of course, like people are so blindsided and gullible. And I thought it was just that's what I wanted to be, where he was just mentioning where he like why he won't go heel, and he was talking to the crowd, why why he won't go heel, and basically down mocking and downplaying the fact that they want him to turn heel and that he's not. That he wants to that also he just wants to pretend that like he's this sort of really giant baby face like a like a John Cena or a Rock, or he just star power or at that baby face alone. And it's just like bro, you're not either of that. Like it's just like because he actually is turning, like whether he knows it or not too. It just makes him look much more that of a heel. So and I believe he knows it, which is why he went out the way he did. So in this where the way he was talking, and of course where he just again where he was talking about the fact that WWE had changed Gunther's name, or Walter's name to Gunther now. And, he's just going back and forth. He talked about that. It basically just still mentioned in WWE. Shoot, tell it all, whatever you want to call it, basically. Like kayfabe, like he was just basically just again just talking more references, and another just a blatant shot at WWE. Like, can they just go one day, just one more, just a day, or just they actually just mind their own businesses, or just where they can actually focus on themselves, just not and not just just talking shit about WWE. Like it's getting really repetitive to a point where I just like I may just skip over when it comes to Cody or whoever just at top is just like still just I probably will tune in for entertainment, but it's just like not take it just goes to the point of fact where you just can't take AEW seriously at all. And it's just I get like I said before also when it comes to the fact where or when AEW just constantly, whether it's Tony or Cody, where they just mention WWE out their mouth, and it's just like it's getting to a point where it's just like okay, like Yes, like we know y'all don't like WWE. It's just like they seem like they just it just seems like a couple of kids, a group of kids that they've got money and they got clout and they got a company now. Yeah, it just seems like that. Where they just they have a they ha yeah like they got a company, they got money and clout, and they hate WWE. Like that's what it just seems like, and it just seems so comical. And it's like you gonna like when are you just like gonna like just like fuck, who cares? Like it's the same. This is why I don't look forward to. Like I said, I do want them to improve. Like don't get like don't make it like seem like I don't just because I want we just need wrestling to live. Like AEW is gonna be that point where it's just like they still wanted the driving forces popular companies other than WWE where it's just WWE and them right now, where they just where people just look to them as the standard, the general platforms and all the wrestling right now, and it's just like, who's gonna really care or take them seriously? It's just more a reason why I just don't feel sorry for them when just like AEW's really toxic, ignorant base their audience just calls them out, or whatever you feminine fanboys they just call them out and they just laugh at them and not take them seriously at all. It's just because they keep mentioning them, and also the fact where WWE just throws sneak disses at them. This is like if you're gonna get to a point where you just can't keep WWE, you just can't stop thinking about it. You can't go one day without thinking of Vince. You know, what he's having for coffee today, brunch, or whichever movie he's be going to watch. It's like how can I take you seriously at all? It's just like it's just more of the same shit. It's like ridiculous. Like Cody, still on his bullshit with WWE. And like I said, I get the fact he like him too. Like I get the fact where because he's been wronged or he's been played out the fact where Vince kind of screwed him over in his early on in his career. But it's like you're at a time too. You're at that point now also again where you can just become a top star of your own because we know like Cody knows like we know that he can become like he can work himself towards that a Rock or a John Cena, or a Shawn Michaels or Kurt Angle, and just a star in his own right. But it's just like he's still. It just seems like he's just not gonna go. It's just like he's gonna go on this completely universal tirade. Just keep mentioning WWE or making tributes, birthday cakes, wishes to him. It's just like like seriously, like it really makes no sense at all. So yeah, it's just another just another point where you just mentioned in WWE where you can be doing something else, and obviously just they had and more because I am getting sick of that also. Just more of these gimmick matches. Sorry, or medium just more gimmick pay per views you want to call them or something like that. It's just really getting I'm getting sick and tired of that. Also, that's where it's just where they play out and they don't really make an impact or they don't really further anything going forward to any story, characters involved, wrestlers in general. So I say like if Cody's gonna keep going on this down this path, like it's just really getting ridiculous to a point where it's just like I really not it's just I don't want it to, but it's just getting to a point where I just may not completely not look forward to Dynamite at all. Where it's just where I just okay, now it's just he just can they basically confirming where I just whenever I want to. I do it anyway, but it's just now it's just whenever I want to now because all the speculation around Cody and just whether he a free agent or go back to whether he may show up in the Royal Rumble or not, you know like, or just the fact of where, when you just have, the wrestling community where everybody hates him, and he can really like pull, he can pull what John Cena should have did. He can pull, like he can become that, a heel that's just where he's just so hated. Like he could pull a Hulk Hogan, but it's just like he don't want to, like he don't want to go in that. It's like he don't want to go into a direction where it might benefit him and wrestling in general. So it's just it's really ridiculous. Other than the fact that no, you want to go down this route and continue and to call out and just bitch and bitch about WWE. And it's just really ridiculous. Like anybody can. Also, too, it didn't really seem like a shoot. Just more like what the AEW's been doing. So when it comes to WWE and mentioning WWE, so I wouldn't call it a shoot at all. Just more like yeah, just more like just a bitch moment and complaining. Like it's like it's just really played out. It's really ridiculous. So yeah, it's just only can hope that this shit really, and you have that them focusing on this shit, but it's just like when it comes to, like I was just talking about with Eddie Kingston, or they could be doing more with CM Punk and MJF, but no, it's just more of this shit, and it's just really ridiculous. And people support this and say that AEW is all about long term booking, where they could actually be improving, parts like their mid card or their women's division. But no, they gotta mention WWE again. Cody has to go out his way and still talk more shit about WWE. So it's just make more kisses, blow more kisses to Vince. Unreal. We cut to Anna Jay and Jade Cargill. So I guess we getting another a TBS Jade Cargill's first challenger. And it's like where it comes back to them doing more, like they talk about, or I just like when it comes to, like, I hear so much about it too, particularly from one person, JD from NY, and I'll specifically him, and where he likes to talk about long term booking. Where it's just like and then they talk about, and he also talks about how where like WWE just just they just blatantly just have where they, whether it's they beat the champion, and it's whether it's just a regular match, it's a non-title match, and they just beat the champion just like that, or it's just more of the same thing going around at AEW also. So let's not, it's just, let's not act like I said, it's just more, let's not act like we're Dynamite, like AEW is doing also the exact same trope. And it's just a challenge out of nowhere, where basically now, Anna Jay is basically, Anna Jay is getting the a challenge, you know whether a match with Jade. So whether or yeah, I said it before also too. Pretty much don't care also, because there's no nothing exciting going on in the women's division right now, so I couldn't care less. Yeah, AEW also, so also the fact. So y'all AEW cuckolds want to come here and bash. That just gives me more enjoyment. So like I said, don't act like AEW has been doing the also, because they've like actually been making some sort of, yeah, when it comes to CM Punk and MJF, but it's just like outside of that, and they're not even making that where where they can get much more viewership, and of their usual viewership and over that, and even newer viewers. It's just they're not really doing anything monumental at all. So it's just, yeah, just a challenge coming out of nowhere. And people like to preach so much about how AEW can tell so much, all dropping stories, and the way they book, the way they book their wrestlers and characters and everything, and how much how much of an impact how they made on wrestling right now. I've only been watching AEW for 5 months. Yeah, I've only been watching them for a matter of 5 months or more or so. And the way that it only took me that long. Well, I'll make a video on it, but I feel like I should watch them more. But yeah, it's pretty much where I can basically compare them to WWE. It's just that the fact where they just focus much more on the matches than they do their characters. Yeah, their characters and their stories. Even when it comes to their their big wrestlers. The ones much more of much more eyes on them. Yeah. When it comes to their main event wrestlers or championships or whatever, it's just like they put they put a lack of notice on that as well, and they don't do much more to gravitate much more of that they that will benefit everybody as a whole. And it's just like, yeah, I giggle at the fact that when people talk about, how AEW does so much and long term booking. Okay, so next now we have coming up in House of Black versus the Varsity Blondes. And yeah, it's just a simple the match doesn't really and actually when it comes to like this is where where especially it was just a match like the match that led up to what House of Black one, but the match was actually what it set out to be. And like I said, like where you have Pac, like after the match, you have Pac, fucking sounding like he's from fucking Star Wars, or just one of those sci-fi big budget or sci-fi low budget shows where he's talking like he's about to conquer, like he's about to come to the warlord and just straight up starts murdering everybody who he loves and everything like that to repay back what he had done to him. When that shit like it's like who the like be quiet, Pac. Get the fuck off the screen. Troll Javelin looking ass, but yes. Yeah, it actually turned out what it actually needs to be. Like I said, there needs to be more of that. That we had fucking 20-minute, yeah, having 20 to fucking 30-minute matches and they don't mean anything. Like I said, the matches that's okay, like the Adam and Daniel Bryanson one, but the story sucked. Just like the Sasha and Bianca match. Like I said, I love that match. Or well, I didn't have a channel before then, but I can tell you right now that like that they had the story where what y'all had, they had the story. Oh, sorry, I'm getting tied in the knot. Where leading up to Sasha and Bianca's match, where they was fighting for the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania 37, and then they had, the story was actually, it could have been, such much more than that, but where they had, it was basically regional, caught in the middle. Well, it was like they was sizing each other up. Where Sasha, it was like this is her, this is her empire, like her playground, and no, you don't have a place here, and that you can just fall in line like everybody else and just bow down. But that we're and yeah, regional, and it's like regional, or I call them Sipinal, like Sipinal. But and he was like he played like it was making it like he played a larger part in that, and it was just laughable. Where it's just like the match was a classic, but it's just like it didn't really when you come to the story if it was done properly it could have. But WWE, but it's just like when it's just when it comes to wrestling now, like they don't they don't know how to tell a story when it comes to WWE too. But it's just like, of course AEW they don't know jack shit, even when it comes to the bigger picture that of their main stories involving their top stars and wrestlers. Like they don't know but it's just like you have rare instances of where you can have where House of Black, and then it can lead to a much more say like where you just had where House of Black just defeated Varsity Bonds, and then Pac comes out of nowhere and basically like he can said that he can just turn up out the House of Black, like the his lair, like Malachi Black's lair, and he basically say that like he's basically whether it's like whether he's destroying his lair or he's proclaiming that he could take over. Like yeah, you could have in that instance like when you like they can really like AEW can actually they could like do something when it comes to these they're like it doesn't matter they're younger talent or top talent. So but it's like they don't want to. So I believe I mentioned before. Yeah, I believe I mentioned. I think that that AW Tony is like it seems like. Oh, sorry. Like I said, when I talk on for a period of time, it gets like that. I get like that. So my apologies like that. But yeah, it just seems like Tony Khan. He just he's much more. He has like it's just like he has to have on his screen when it comes to much more like when it or it's just more so. But talking about Tony Khan, but it's just like more so in general. It just seems like the indie like 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 the smaller midget type any type of talent where it just seems like they rule nowadays. You had the smaller, muscular, acrobatic, high flying too type of indie guys also. And yeah, it's just like I said, it just seems like it's like too much of them. It's like nobody like you can't tell anybody else from anybody, and it's just like going back to the 80s and the 90s or the golden era or the attitude era or whether the new generation, and it's just like you can tell like and it's like everybody else it's like everybody still had a personality where you had specifically in the whether the ruthless aggression or the attitude era where you had your big men, you had your powerhouses, you had your daredevils and your brawlers, and that's that. And it's just like I say, yeah, it's just like wrestling nowadays. It just seems like it has no identity. And when it comes to AEW, so far I've been seeing when it comes to their big men and their powerhouses, anything like that, it just seems like nobody else is getting shined on. And it seemed at one point where I saw like Hobbs, he may, or it's pretty much going to be Warlow too, where he may get pretty much they may throw him back back into the fryer, where he's just basically become another fry, or he just in general, but generic, where they don't use him at all. And it's just like when you think about that, it's just more of the same. Say it's not. There's not. You can't. There's no much. Nobody looks different, and that can just really irks me. And you have Lance Archer. He was facing some other type of jobber I guess. And then Adam Page comes out and like he basically just bulldozes him, like straight up. He just emasculates him. And I'm not saying that like you don't have to like the big men like can't be touched. Like obviously like you had Undertaker and Kane, Big Show, like where they can be touched. But it's just like it's like Tony treats his big men and his powerhouses like they don't mean anything. Like they're just there for to put over somebody else or the indie talent or much more smaller guys. And like I said, you could have like I said, that's cool. That's cool. We all have our specific or wrestler or character where they relate to us or anything like that or like, but it's just like how can that's another thing why I can't get into or wrestling in general or just AEW specifically, where I just another thing I noticed, Tony just he just has much more of a fetish towards smaller and midget type of acrobatic type of like these indie talent, and it's just like wow, it's just like you got it's just wow, it's just that's just really boring, and and then that just makes it much more worse, where it doesn't bring a larger, even more demographic. It's like these companies don't get it. It's like okay, yeah, they know, but it's just like they don't want to. It's like you could make even more than what you normally make, but by giving what by doing what out of the box, by thinking, where you can actually get back to those times like W2, where they can go back to the Attitude Era, or times, or just have wrestlers that have much more in the identity. But it's just like there's none of that. It just yeah, it just completely takes you out of it. So this really doesn't make any sense at all. Talking about Serena D for a moment, she's like, I like how she just, yeah, I like how they have her now, where her whole gimmick, her whole character is just straight up, tearing everybody apart, just basically just, ripping every other, female wrestler's, limb apart. And it's just like, yeah, I like that for it. And it's just like, now that I think about it, because I do kind of remember her, like, of course, like anything, especially when she was a part of Straight Edge Society, where remember, like, if you remember that, where CM Punk back in 2009, and that was when he was had his new he had some of his feuds with, whether it was Jeff Hardy and Rey Mysterio, and yeah, you had where he was like he had his this whole stable gimmick, where the Straight Edge Society, where they don't basically, they don't succumb themselves to any type of poison, whether it's smoking or drinking, that type of you know strong, basically cleansing. So yeah, and it's just that's where she kind of even more reminds me of. And the way I look at her now, oh my gosh, like, if she was like, even back then, of course, she wasn't going to get that type of position in WWE. But it's just like, when you look at her now, if you remember her from when she was in Straight Edge Society with CM Punk and Luke Gallows, and it's like, when you look at her now, she absolutely could have had. I don't know, I think she needs to talk more for me to like, because it does sound like she doesn't really know her. She doesn't know how to really where to start on a mic, but it's just like she just has that aura about her. Yeah, where she's like, she's a terrific. I just noticed that too. She's a terrific wrestler, and yeah, it's just like, I want to see more of that. Also, it does kind of make you sad where it does, when you think about it, like, we're pitiful. It is pitiful, the fact where she has that type of she does have that type of smash mouth wrestling, and she's like, she's a female too. Not that it's any type of diss or anything like that. I'm not trying to make it sound like that. It's just the fact that you have really, you don't really expect to, when it comes to a female, and then she's that bringing that type of rawness, powerhouse wrestling, and it's just like, you regularly would want to see that back. And when it comes to mainly, when it comes to the men's wrestling, or the way how it was always around, and it's just like, that's gone. But then you have Serena D coming out here, knocking heads and splitting weaves. So it's just like, yeah, that does make you a bit give you a bit of a belly laugh. Okay, so now coming up in the main event, we have the Acclaimed going up against Darby Allin and Sting in the tag team, in a tag team match, street fight, whatever type of match, in the main event. And Yeah, the main event was good. The main event was it was great. Like I said, like I've been praising for their matches. Their when it comes to their wrestling, of course AEW knows how to, like Tony knows how to sell in that regard. But it's like because it's like everybody knows how to wrestle, and it's just like there's good wrestling everywhere you go. So it's just like you can't. It's like yeah, it's like everybody knows how. It's just to yeah. Whereas we have like gone like we have evolved to a point where yeah, you can find wrestling and then you can almost everybody can wrestle now. They have top tier talent, so it's not like their wrestling completely sucks. It's just that the fact that when it comes to AEW, like they have like the food is there, but it's no taste. Like you can't taste any of the food that they're selling. So it's just like, but yeah, like I said, I continue still to give them props when it comes to when it comes to when it comes to the main event or it's just a match where they actually some show some sort of effort. So yeah, I did like the main event, and Sting and Darby Allin are kind of feuding with the Acclaim right now, and like I said, that's a bit of who really cares about that because it's not being shown as if you should actually care, or it's not a story that you want to follow, or they could actually be like I said, they can show us it can like there could it could be more going into it, but it's just they're feuding, but it's just like it's another match. It's weak, but AEW knows how to tell stories. Like they know how to they have long term booking, right? Okay, but yeah, that was yeah. I was like I said in the beginning, it has been it's one of those AEW's been having. I guess this week now. I guess they guess it's a week where it's just okay. I want to watch this, and then they have it's been like that where they have like I said they have weeks, or they have a week that where it's just like it's mediocre, or they have it where it's just like okay they had like they do what they're supposed to be doing, and then that goes back to they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's basically a shift, like shift back up and a shift back down. So I say it's really a shame that I really do what AEW is in a place they become a company, or a piece where they get like actually they have garnered some type of reaction, whether medium or I guess large, or where you can actually, or where some people think that they want to get, or they have people, some like a small group, or just like they have it like individuals, a group, or where they actually they get them back into wrestling. So, but it's like they're not fully executing on that. It's just more like people are just like I said, it's just more like people love to hype, especially nowadays. They like to or it's just more of like people hype something up, and when you get to it, when you actually, because you have a logical, and what tastes good and what doesn't taste good. You know what's a impactful story and what's not an impactful story. And it's just like when you finally get to AEW, it's like, or the way I've been watching, how long I've been watching it, or how long you've been watching it. Like I said, whoever agrees with me, yeah, it's just like it's the same technique, same one and done when it comes to AEW. So I mean, I want to. I said I want them to improve. Like I want them. Like I said, it's not like I want them to go out of business because I'm not. I'm far bigger than that. I've grown out of that. When it comes to Sony versus Microsoft, or AWE or AEW, or just like just opposing like opposites against each other, like those type of battles where people just root for whichever side. I'm past that. I want, when it comes to like gaming, cinema, or just or in this particular situation, wrestling. Like, I want wrestling to thrive. Like, it's the only real thing that I look forward to. I don't really look forward to anything else now much nowadays. Just like, sadly, wrestling. So it's just like, yeah, I don't know, and I'm not gonna say anything because that just makes it much more worse. But yeah, I just like gotta. I don't know, I'm not gonna really say anything about that, or just make it seem like they're actually gonna change when they're not. So, or actually do something, but it's gonna play out the same what they always been doing, the same scenario. So yeah, at this point, it's just like you put your hands on your head. It's like, what can we do now? So it's basically more of the same shit, whether it's mentioned in WWE or on a daily basis, or they just have matches, just play out, just matches. It's not anything at all. Like I said, like, at least WWE can tell a story. They can still somewhat tell a story when they want to, and we know they can become the way they used to be, or they know how to. When it comes to anything of that regard, like, WWE knows how to do that. But it's like people like to preach that AEW is so much better than WWE, when in all actuality, it's not at all. Like, the AEW doesn't matter shit when it comes to WWE. Like, when it comes to the wrestling aspect, they have some type of, like, I guess you could say, like, because they have top tier talent as well. But when it comes to like, you have stars in WWE like Sasha and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and Bailey. It's like, when you have that type of top tier talent, also, that's even more, you know, a much 10 times over than the talent AEW has. People love to gas shit up. So yeah, it's all. I guess that's all I have. And yeah, sorry this couldn't be on the night before, but yeah, that's how I felt like it, or or the only reason way I'm doing it is because, I guess, because luckily I saw Jon Moxley, because I wasn't thinking of doing it at all. So yeah, I guess I'm glad I saw that, because I wasn't doing it at all. So I'll most likely be there next week. So, or let's see, or whatever not. So yeah, I'll see y'all, because we still have to talk. We still have to get on and talk about that's coming up in the future video. Mustafa Ali, and the way Vince, of course, has been treating him, and the way there's been a bit of a branch, a battle between Mr. Ali and Vince, basically WWE one man army. And yeah, we're gonna talk about that, and I a few others I want to talk about too, subjects, whatever, wrestling in general, just wrestling in general. And yeah, I'll see y'all later. Hope y'all enjoyed your night, your Thursday night. Going into the weekend already. Damn, this week went by fast. It's already about to be February. Fuck, already February. So yeah, I'll see y'all later. My fellow cultivators, stay blessed.